Good morning, pool fans watching around the world. Back with another day full in the field. The action continues here in the European Championships. The match we will be watching and following is the one you see in your screen. Denis Baidemir versus the young Spanish Efren Serrano. These players are playing in the losers round 3. It's a race to 7. 10 ball is the game. The winner, of course, prevails into the tournament, and the loser, unfortunately, is knocked out. My name is Arya Surabi. I will be talking you throughout this match, and as we see the Turkish talent take up his first break, let's see how he will start off the match. If you're wondering why he's positioning his cue ball a little bit further to the outer skirts, because there is a break box in play, so the players cannot put their cue ball inside the break box. There's a little marker there at the head string. That's why they have to go a little bit towards the side of the table, which also increases the difficulty of the breaking, particularly in 10 ball. So we could expect a lot of tactical exchanges, a lot of turnovers, which in reality, in all honesty, actually adds to the drama. First glance, both players trying to hook one another on the 1. Although the table might look a little bit congested, but I feel like as soon as you can pot the 1 and you pot the 2, that opens up the gap for the 3 to be potted. So it feels like the battle on the 1 is the crucial one here, and I think this has come up short. It has. And not only has he left a pot, even to add to the pain of Efren, the angle here on the 1 is absolutely perfect, so Denis doesn't have to do a lot with his cue ball, just to pot this 1, make sure that the cue ball bounces back to, say, center line of the table, and he should be on the 2. Early jitters there by the young Turkish talent. No harm done yet. He's not left the 1. Although you can see Efren has called the 1. Tried to kick this in using the mirroring method. Trying to find the hitting line on the long rail. Of course, if you're a little bit new to our beautiful sport and you're wondering what they are playing, it's basically the same principles as 9 ball, so you have to address the lowest ball on the table. With the biggest difference is, of course, we're playing with 10 balls rather than 9, so the 10 is the most important ball, and also call shot is in play, so no flukes allowed unless you call it. And if you would manage to pot the 10 off of a combination, that doesn't count as a win. Only if you pot the 10 as the last ball, you've won the rack. mean, the one looks to be potable, but it's a very thin one, and as you can see, the biggest problem here for Efren is, of course, figuring a way to somehow control his cue ball, which is always going to be hard from a thin cut. Did well there. That was a delicate safety shot, although has he been a little bit unfortunate? Why do I say unfortunate? If Dennis can use the left long rail, so to the left side of the 6 and the 3, that's significantly a little bit easier to hit the one rather than coming off the right long rail, where you do have the 10 a little bit in the way. Yeah, you can definitely get to the side. So again, be surprised if he doesn't hit the one. Well, he did so. However, that beautiful safety by Efren has forced an error from his opponent. So he's got a good chance here to take the first rack. Although, a lot of good positional shots to be played before we get to that stage, of course. And the first two are coming up. Oh dear. That was not a hard shot. He'll be disappointed. I suppose if there is a stage in a match where you could probably afford a few mistakes, it's usually the beginning part of the match, because both players should be feeling some nerves playing on the TV table in this main arena. It's usually the latter part, or after the middle part, where every mistake is now amplified. Efren looking to go airborne here. He's picked up his jump cue. These long jump shots are really hard to control. So it's called the middle pocket. This indicates that he's trying to hit the one as full as possible. A lot of balls in his way, so this can definitely go wrong. These type of long jumps are very hard to control. Yeah, that was, like I said, the difficulty of that shot was way more than one might have thought initially. Yeah, you can see Dennis having a look at the angle. Oh, I'm a little bit surprised here. It seems like he's going for the 3 foul rule. I thought this was a great opportunity to try and clear the table. I don't know whether the 1 passes the 2, but it seems to me that he's trying to play safe here. I wouldn't go as far to say that I think this is a wrong tactic, but I would say one thing. I'm a little bit surprised to see these youngsters not by default going for attack, let me put it that way. Because usually the younger talents, they are very astute in potting and creating angles, but they have to develop probably a little bit more of the tactical side of the game. So again, from this point, if you look at the layout, basically all of the balls are nicely spread, so it'd be interesting to see whether Dennis is still stuck on this 3 fouls. Yeah, right now though, I think that is the wrong decision. So you can see all of the balls are easily potable, so if he's now, let me put it that way, he's stuck on this idea of I want to win this rack of 3 fouls, and sure, if he gets another good snooker, he's in with a chance, but clearing the table from this position actually feels a lot easier than try and outsmart your opponent. That nearly went wrong there. As it is, I feel like, yeah, Efren can't see, maybe he can see the edge of the one, but that would be no good to him because the scratch would be looming large. So this is a critical shot here by young Efren. Has to make sure that he hits the one and also hits the rail, of course. Otherwise, he will lose the rack off of 3 fouls. But I think the hit on the 1 should be straightforward here off the back reel. Yeah, there you go. So, has to be said, Denny's had a look at this shot now. I mean, I get what he was trying to do, but trying to put this one off of this layout is a lot harder than the ball in hand he had and tried to clear the table. Can be forgiven, of course. These players are very young and early in their careers. And he's lost his cue ball, has he? Oh, he's been very fortunate. I suppose if you're Efren, you're just happy that this is not on the off the back of 2 consecutive fouls, because hitting the 1 here is a lot harder than the previous attempt. I think it's interesting to see when we have a closer look at the mechanics of Dennis Bijdemir that seems like he's got that old school technique where his chin is not completely down on his cue. He's a little bit heightened. And it's something you don't see that often, especially from the youngsters. It's mostly the old school generation, the billiard halls, but the youngsters these days usually have a very compact mechanics. Don't know whether he started off by playing billiards maybe. Efren got options here. Ideally doesn't want to have anything to do with the 8. Yeah, well, try to desperately avoid the 8. So a couple of times now in this rack where Efren is just took his eye off the pot, being a little bit more focused on the positional side of the shot, and it's now the second pretty easy shot that he's missed. And although it's early days, it's something to keep your eye on, because that can really put a dent in your confidence. So if you start missing the easy ones, it's hard not to get annoyed about missing easy shots. Trying to get a full hit here on the 4. Oh, as it was, just clipped it thin, and the cue ball gained momentum with some side spin. Interesting to see that he's not trying to use the bridge, the extension. F4 just about dropped. This cue ball needs to stop. This is good enough. critical positional shot coming up. I mean, he can try to guarantee himself that he doesn't overscrew this cue ball. This time around, he does pick up the extension, the bridge. Anywhere past the first diamond below this middle pocket, he should be nicely on the 7. Seems to be that he's pretty straight. Although well, if he watches this one back, forget about the mist. What I noticed is that the bridge, the extension, was very, very close to the cue ball. That also makes it a lot harder to address the cue ball, but also generate power. So, young Efren, if you are watching this back at some point, just a minor adjustment with your bridge, and you should be able to generate more power, more spin, and more accuracy. Happens to the best of them, of course. It's looking like Dennis is trying to swerve around the 9 ball here. A lot of elevation here. Yeah, didn't get the grip in the cue ball, barely swerved around it. Yeah. At the moment, both players have a little bit lost their pause in the backswing. So you see a very fast, twitchy movement. That also makes positional side of the game a lot harder. Although that shot looked already a lot better. So if there's one thing, if you're a coach and you want your pupils or your player to do, is never abandon the pause in your backswing. Something that you will see all the top pros do consistently. Player like Alban Ushan, for example, is a great example for that, or Shane Van Boning, Fedor Gorst. Any of the top players have a very consistent pause on their backswing. That cue ball needs to stop in time. Well, it did. A little bit more awkward than it could have been. The cue ball barely dropped. As it is, young Efren takes the first rack. Efren with his first break, unfortunately failed to pot a ball, but not all bad news. Hasn't left the opening shot for his opponent, who seems to be opting for the push out here. The angle here on the 1 seems to be pretty full, so I'm not so sure whether... Yeah, he was trying to let his cue ball go around the table. Although, it doesn't feel like he's left a easy opening shot for his opponent, but what I would say is that tactical decision by Denis Baydemir has given him the safety advantage. He's got a good chance to put his opponent in trouble here. Kept it simple, try to use the 9 and the 10. The only thing with this shot is the escape is a little bit more available than try to maybe hook behind the 4 or the 5. Yeah, it was a good hit. But when the 10 has run close to the 3, that obviously now becomes the next problem for whoever gets to pot the 1 and try to advance in this rack. Not entirely convinced that he tried to leave that much of a distance between the cue ball and the 2. So, don't know whether he can risk putting this 2 going around 2 or 3 rails. Oh, he definitely went for that. And he's tried to develop the 3. Yeah, this is a little bit unfortunate, you could say. But you know, with the speed on the cue ball he had, this was definitely on the cards. You could go around the left side of the 10. Where's his cue ball going? Yeah, he's lost his cue ball there. So initially he did try to attack the balls and be positive, but unfortunately trying to develop the 3 off the 2 did not work out for him, and now all of a sudden Dennis gets a great opportunity to put his first rack on the board, get his campaign going. He tried to check his cue ball by trying to put the 5 thin, but he's lost his cue ball there. And now all of a sudden he's put himself under pressure here to keep this visit going. Maybe he can cut this 6 in, but the scratch is a little bit dangerous. Oh, he's going to cut this in the bottom right corner pocket. Oh, he went for the bank. And he went for the bank there. Went all out for position. Failed to make the bank, and where the 8 is sitting. Main thing here for Efren is to pot the 6 and make sure that his cue ball does not get glued to the side rail. Ran into the 8, and somehow not only did he not pot the 8, but he's actually left the 8 still over the hole. See that shot there, for example, if this was the first day of the tournament, that would not have been on, because the new cloths, you get to slide a lot more, so the spin gets a lot delay. Now all of a sudden, you know, you can get a lot more reaction from the cushions and the cloth. Again, he's lost his cue ball. I mean, this shot is a lot harder than it should have been. Still favored to make this, of course, but can be missed. Nicely done. Past the 10 to take a 2-0 lead. His opponent to break. If you've just joined us, welcome. You're watching the losers round 3 team match in the under 19 division, where we have Spain taking on Turkey. Simultaneously, there are 2 other matches going on. 3 disciplines being played: 10 ball, 8 ball and 9 ball. So 3 games. Whoever team, or in this case country, wins 2 games, they prevail. This is the under 19 division. We also have the under 17 division going on as well. The young man from Spain has taken a 2-0 lead. If you've just joined us and you want to know a quick recap, both players had several turnovers. A lot of tactical exchanges, a couple of balls missed. Such is the difficulty of the break as well, with the break box, that so far we've not had a break and run. Of course, if you would like to follow the proceedings on the other table, we do have 2 free live streams on YouTube for you at your disposal. So if you want to keep your eye on the other match, or if you want to even watch both matches in a split screen, you do have that option. And in doing so, if you enjoy the stream facilities, you do us a huge favor by following, subscribing, and of course turn on the notification button so you don't have to miss any of the action. Then he's just failed to pot the one there, but luckily for him, he's left at least a couple of balls in the way of Efren to try and pot this one. Looking to kick this one in. The 4 and the 10 seem to be, particularly the 10, seems to be a big ball in his way. Try and get to the 1. Got very close. Now, of course, in the first rack, Denny's had a situation where he had his opponent on 2 consecutive fouls, and he had a ball in hand with not particularly the similar situation, but the table was a bit even better spread, and he opted to go for the 3 fouls. And by the looks of it, seems to me that he once again is trying to bait his opponent into 3 fouls here. Yeah, thin this 2 ball, send the cue ball up table. We use the 7 and the 9 as a blocker. Oh, it's hit this way too thick. Yep, that's not worked out. Although he's not left a pot or anything, so it's not all over just yet, but very disappointed indeed. Yeah, that was a nice attempt there by Efren. The problem with that shot was, as you could see there, is controlling the pace. That had to be pretty accurate with the power on the 2 ball. These players are playing under a time constriction, so there is a shot clock in play. So every once in a while when you hear in the background someone saying time, it's the referee notifying the players that they only have 10 seconds left to play the shot. Efren here with some options. Could go up and down or around the back of the 3. Up and down it was. From this angle, it's highly unlikely whether he can come in between the 7 and the 9, so it's looking like he has to go around the left side of the 7, which also narrows the angle on the 4 here. As you can see now, this ball, yeah, it's run in a very awkward spot. If only the cue ball would have rolled on 2 or 3 inches further, this shot would have been almost unmissable. Or you could say he could have even made sure that he would run even further than that, and he would have had the 4 in the side. As it was, that was a very difficult and delicate positional shot there. Then is back at the table with a chance to put his first rack on the board. Doesn't want to let Efren settle too easy here. Let's not forget, it is a race to 7, so when you start off the match, having had multiple chances in your 3-1 down, 3-0 down, I should say. It's a bad position to be in. So actually, he'd do himself a world of favor to put these 5 remaining balls and put his first rack on the board. Needs to keep still on this shot. He's cued across it, as we call it. Denny's with a great chance here. Has to take out these 4 remaining balls, I think. Especially when you've had ball in hand. I mean, if this proves too difficult of a task, I mean, that's not gonna fuel your confidence. Not for nothing, it's actually gonna fuel your opponent's confidence, knowing that even when you get a ball in hand with only 4 balls at the table, wide open, you still struggle. Already the cue ball is far from ideal here, way too close to the side rail, but I think in fact the middle pocket has come to the rescue here. Should be able to, yeah, get some purchase on the cue ball. Oh dear. Well, I did say if you fail to convert this chance, I'm afraid it is not going to put pressure on your opponent, and also the horrible feeling he must be going through right now can be the loneliest seat out there when you're not playing well. We all know when you're playing well and you're focused, this game can look ridiculously easy, but at the same time, sometimes it can be the hardest game in the entire world. Yeah, Efren let off the hook once again by his opponent, so be interesting to see whether he can maybe call for a timeout or something, trying to recompose himself. Yeah, I think he has left the arena. I think that's the right tactic for this juncture of the game. As you see in your overview, the other team match going on simultaneously is on table 2. That is also live, provided with live commentary by my dear friend and colleague Pascal de Smit. I will use this opportunity to see what's the score line on the 3rd match, because we are watching the team match between Spain versus Turkey. So on table 3 we've got Felipe Gonzalez from Spain playing the 8-ball game against Ahmed Karaslan, and he's up 6-1. I believe that is also a race to 7, so Spain looking very in a dominant position to at least claim the first point. And of course we're playing 3 games, so whoever country or team gets to win 2 matches, they prevail. And on the other table, Renzo Sierra versus Efe. Efe is leading in that match 3-2. That match is on our other live stream on table 2. Well, in fact, it's 4-1 in favor of Renzo Sierra. Dennis has returned to his seat. And Efren gets the fourth rack on the way. This time around, successful break. And he's got an opening shot here on the 1. It is a very tricky pot. It is doable though, in the side pocket. Maybe he's a little bit worried for his cue ball, because that 9 ball is ever so slightly a little bit in the way to come off the side rail. Needs to inject some power in this cue ball. It was very close. And has he been fortunate? Well, first glance he has. Although this swerve shot is a lot easier than the previous attempt he had at a swerve shot. The only thing that could go wrong by making contact with the 1 is if you hit it too full, the cue ball can follow the 1 in the corner pocket. Not enough on his cue ball. So it's a very frustrating time out there for Dennis. Nicely done there by Efren. Would have liked some sort of an angle on this too, although he has the slightest of angles, but maybe it's best for him to guarantee a pot on the 3 in the side pocket rather than trying to force an angle here. Yeah, that's gone wrong. He tried to be too perfect on the 3 here. And now he has to play this with a jump shot. It's a delicate jump shot. These are not easy. Now then. Good chance here for Dennis. It's obvious that he's trying to guarantee himself a nice positional shot here on the 4. It would be actually in his favor when he can send his cue ball to the right side of the table. The next shot, he's missed the 4. I was about to say the next shot, if he would have potted the 4, of course, from the 6 to 7 would be a lot easier from this side of the table than, let's say, a little bit towards the center line of the table. This shot here is tricky, and also he could lose his cue ball in the side pocket. He's left this pot on. Be interesting to see whether Dennis will try and force a better angle on the 6 or just guarantee to can see the pot. Hit the point of the middle pocket. Unfortunately, right now, as is the pattern, every time Dennis gets a chance, it's within 2 or 3 shots. He's running out of position or he's missing. So it's really hard to gain momentum, particularly on yourself if it's self-inflicted. Although, you know, the positional side of the shot, the 4 he just potted there, it was a bit more tricky than previous chances, but nonetheless, it is a pattern. and it just sucks the confidence out of you and the energy out of you, because like I said, if you're playing pool and within 2 or 3 shots you're constantly out of position or missing, it's like a snowball effect. Yeah, that 8 is dropped. Even if it wouldn't have dropped, it would have only made the combination from the 7 to the 8 easy. So actually Efren also trying to use the... This is overran by a mile here. So only a possible bank in the opposite middle pocket to keep this run going. Well, he has called it, so he will dedicate all-out attack here. Well, he didn't imply a bit of stun or screw on his cue ball. That is why he's landed here. This is still potable in the side pocket, but it's pressure on this. Oh, that's even worse when you hit both knuckles of the middle pocket. It just goes to show that you have to be very accurate from that angle. This 10 still not 100% guarantee here. It's a thin one, so much so that Dennis is considering to come off the top rail, try and kick this one in. Needless to say where he's trying to pot the 10, of course. Yeah, well, try to kick it in. Yeah, there is a bank shot on here, even a cut. It's a thin one, so yeah, seems like Efren is trying to bank this 10. Yeah, he's called a bank shot. Bottom left corner pocket. Now then, Denise, can he muster up one good pot here and maybe release the tension on himself? Needs to be a little bit cautious with his cue ball. Yeah, and the young Turkish talent gets his first rack on the board in a crucial juncture of the match. Could have easily been 4-0 to his opponent, so reduces the deficit. It's now 1-3 in favor of Efren Serrano. It's losers round 3 in this team match between Spain and Turkey. We've been following this match from the beginning. The team matches, there are 3 games going on simultaneously. Spain has already won 1 match, only need another match to go through. On the other table, table 2, we've got Renzo Sierra versus Efe Dere. Renzo in with a great lead there. He's 6-3 and up on his opponent. So Spain are looking very nicely indeed to prevail. Early tactical exchange here. If at some point you see the players shaking hands, it indicates that Spain has probably won this match. The first point is on the board. On the other table, the compatriot of Efren is also in with a great lead. The winner of this team match will play the loser of the other team match going on between France and Lithuania to try and qualify for the quarterfinals. Already 3 teams have qualified for the quarterfinals: Sweden, Germany and Italy. We're looking for 5 other teams to qualify to complete the quarterfinal draw. Dennis at the table needs to do what he can do with all the opportunities. Unfortunately, his compatriot is trailing 7-3. That is a race to 8. So Turkey on the verge of being eliminated. Of course, Dennis cannot afford to let that get into his mind. Delicate positional shot there by Efren. Seems like he can get to the putting angle on the 5. Yeah, try to make sure that he would go away from the top long rail. So one good pot here on the 7. Has to make sure that he gets enough backspin on the 7, on his cue ball rather. Use the 10. That was a nice shot. Perfect angle here on the 8 to come up and down. It's been in control the entire match, Efren. Has to be said though, both players have made several errors, so it's not like Denise was completely out of this game. Just failed to get his rhythm going. Well, I'm afraid that will not have a lot of consequences for Efren, because his compatriot is at the table with 2 balls left on the hill. So by the time these guys get to re-rack, and he's just missed. Well, no, he hasn't. He's fluked a ball, his opponent, on the 9 for the win. So there could be a scenario where they don't actually have to re-rack. Yeah, the match is over. The compatriot of Efren has, as you can see, is celebrating with his teammate, potted the 9. So Spain prevail, where they will meet the loser of the match between Team France and Team Lithuania. Those matches still going on. In the meanwhile, thank you for your time and attention. My name is Arya Sorabi, and keep an eye on the stream as we'll be back with another match on our stream tables. Bye for now.
You're gonna catch uniform control, that's why. Okay.
No, we still have like it starts like 10:30. We have next round 11.
Oh.
So,
Okay, we have time.
yeah, very good.